the 29th of October 2016. Welcome to episode 17 of RapBabble, the weekly hip-hop podcast. It's been a bit of a dull week this week, but I'll try and make the most of it. There are a couple of stories here. The first one involves Eminem, who is, I consider, the best rapper of all time. He put out a song called Campaign Speech. I wouldn't call it a song as such because it didn't have much of a beat. It had one instrument, which didn't really vary that much. And then it was just him rapping for the sake of rapping. It was kind of like a lyrical exercise. He would just say as many words that rhymed and try and make it a sentence or a mini story as much as he could. And he's amazing at doing that stuff. But this is kind of dull because it's not a song. I like complete songs. But it's good. I mean, it demonstrates what he's amazing at. You know, multi-syllable rhymes, many of them. And he just goes as far as he can with them. Like anything that rhymes, he'll put it in. But he's not like, when I say anything that rhymes, it all fits. It's not like that Lil Wayne sort of random rap. Anything that rhymes. No, this all kind of matches. He'll be talking about for each set of rhymes with a certain sound at the end, it will all match up at least. So he'll be telling some kind of narrative with it. Not really a story, but he'll be just making a point, but everything actually makes sense. So it's good. And he mentions there's a lot of cultural references. There's a mention of Donald Trump in there. There's a mention of loads of things. I didn't really enjoy it, so I'm not going to... he mentioned Donald Trump, Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman, Colin Kaepernick, and Dylan Roof, amongst other things. But, I mean, and Vivica Fox as well. But he's just, there's a lot of randomness there as well. But yeah, it demonstrates what he's good at. And he also announced an album coming out, so he's working on that too, so it's good to hear. So I'm looking forward to that. The next story is Azalea Banks. I don't like this woman. She's a foul woman. But the story continues, so I'll just update with the latest and keep it short. She went on Access Hollywood to tell them the story. And there were fake tears. I mean, at one point she's telling the story and she's totally comfortable when she's telling the story about the altercation with Russell Crowe and a woman at the party. And there's like a little, she's comfortable. There's a little bit of a smile on her face. She's telling the story like this woman said something and I said something back and Russell Crowe got annoyed and she's fine. And then later on, they don't actually show the part where it deteriorates into crying because it's edited. So, but the next scene you come across, she's attempting to cry. It's kind of like, you can see it's fake. It doesn't look real at all. It's not believable. And the things that she's crying about are not really, it's not really a traumatic experience as such. So none of it works. And I just don't respect people who lie about this stuff and who try and twist the facts to make them look amazing, even though she was totally in the wrong in this situation, as she is with all her other situations. So, and that's going to be going to, I don't think it'll go all the way to court, but she did file charges. I don't think it'll get that far, but, and the other two are keeping quiet, Russell Crowe and RZA, who were both involved. I didn't even say what happened, really, did I? I should recap, just so you know. She was at a party at Russell Crowe's hotel suite. RZA brought her along. Her and RZA of the Wu-Tang Clan. RZA's making a movie. He's in movies now. Not only making them, but he performs in them and he writes them as well. He's in the production side too. And he linked up with Russell Crowe. They know each other professionally. And he brought Azalea Banks, who he's working with musically. And she caused the scene. And it got so bad that Russell Crowe had to physically throw her out. And she says it's his fault. He will obviously say she was in the wrong. Based on her past history, it must be her. She's trouble, pretty much. RZA's in the middle, but they're both keeping quiet because this is going to get legal. So it's best for them to keep quiet. Anyway, let's put that one aside. I think I want this story to disappear. I don't really like this story. But it's interesting to see someone pretend to cry on... Like, it's amazing to see the depths people go to for this. I mean, she didn't even have... Like, she's pressing charges and it didn't scar her life at all. Okay, she was picked up and thrown out, but really... And then she's going to take it onto news media. So people go to lengths. I mean, her career's not going very well anyway. Possibly because of her attitude, not her talent. Probably her attitude. Anyway, let me put that there. The biggest story, which did actually outrage me quite a bit, is a story about Drake. And he put out 4 tracks on an EP called More Life. I don't know if he was doing it on purpose to try and generate controversy to get people to listen to this. But he has a line in there. He has a line in there that references Pusha T and a line that references Kid Cudi. So, let me look for it. You know, I'm not going to mention the Pusha T stuff. He doesn't really mention names, and he talks about someone rapping about drugs and claiming they're a kingpin and stuff like that. And you really need to say a name if you want me to take this seriously. So it's not 100% clear it's aimed at Pusha T, although Pusha T said stuff at him. But I mean, it's not really worth talking about too much, so I'm just not going to bother. The part about Kid Cudi was slightly different, though. So Kid Cudi made probably the smallest reference you can make to a person at all. He said, people in the industry don't care about you, or don't care about me, including Kanye and Drake. So people are calling that a diss. Saying that someone doesn't care about you, it's barely anything. I don't know why people are even mentioning it. And then Drake responds on a song called 2 Birds, 1 Stone. And pull up the lyrics. So he says, "You were the man on the moon." So now this references Kid Cudi because his first 2 albums were called Man on the Moon. So there's no ambiguity here. He's talking about Kid Cudi. Now you just go through phases. Life of the angry and famous. Rap like I know I'm the greatest. Then give you the tropical flavors. Still never been on hiatus. You stay Xanaxed and perked up. So when reality sets in, you don't got to face it. I'm down 200 in Vegas, but winning life on a daily basis. It seems like nobody wants to stay in my good graces. I'm like a real estate agent putting you all in your places. That's pretty good. I like that. Look what happens as soon as you talk to me crazy. Is you crazy? That last bit is again ambiguous. So he's going back at Kid Cudi for mentioning him on Twitter. And he doesn't really say, there are little disses. I mean, I wouldn't take it seriously myself. But then there's the last bit, is you crazy? Because I don't know if that's for him, but he checked himself into rehab for depression and drug addiction. And so so Drake shouldn't really be mentioning drugs and using the word crazy if he is referring to Kid Cudi, because you're just kicking a man while he's down. So this is really the first time that Drake's made himself look really bad. And there was a lot of outrage and a lot of messages sent his way about, I don't know, a lot of the media stories just had quotes from people on Twitter and on Facebook just saying, you know, this is terrible. You're making fun of someone who's mentally ill, and it's a bad look for Drake. So I was outraged by this story. I didn't like this because he's trying to fix himself. Kid Cudi's trying to fix himself, and he's making himself vulnerable. So as soon as you make yourself vulnerable, now everyone's coming to his defense, which I like. And so yeah, I think this is a loss for in my head. No, I take him down a couple of points. That's what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't call it a loss, but I don't respect this move. And I hope Kid Cudi gets better. And More Life itself was decent. He had one pop-like song, but it was just so repetitive that it's not going to get that far in the charts. The whole EP was all right. It was okay, pretty decent, not particularly remarkable. So we should wait for more Drake music, and hopefully, if Kid Cudi can clean himself up, maybe he'll come out with some more clear thinking music as well, because his music has been quite clouded. Anyway, so do you see what I mean by when I say that the week's news is a bit poor? Yeah, there's like an album announcement with no name and no date, just I'm working on it. That's not much. And then the other 2 stories, yeah. So let's hope there's more to talk about next week, and more positive stories and more I'll try and get more into the music as well. Let's take this to the music. That's what we're here for. So I will see you all next week.